Okay, welcome back to another edition of Real BatDude Reacts. This is our part 3 of our series of reacting to Amber Heard's testimony on May, 5th, Thursday. There's no court on Friday, which is today, May 6th. They're off on a break for about a week, and she'll continue her testimony, and there'll probably be the exciting cross. So let's get into our continuing 30-minute chunks of her testimony. I'm enjoying it. I hope you are too. Let's go back.
Event.
Okay. And describe what took place at the engagement party.
Well, we walk in together and we...
So, sorry, this is the third engagement party that Johnny has put together to celebrate their engagement. And let's hear her complain about this one.
Took some pictures and said a few hellos, and then Johnny disappeared upstairs in, I guess it's like a coat room or something. It was in a big abandoned building that was rented out for events. And he had disappeared upstairs almost the entire party, I would say. It was kind of came down at the end when we were leaving.
Third engagement party
because he was at the time
with
sharing
extended
drugs with my dad.
family and friends. With extended family and friends, and he disappears the entire time. Boy, if it's true, that sounds pretty inconsiderate. Considering he probably paid for the entire spread of food, drinks, location, everything. Wow, he's a horrible guy.
Speculation. Lack of foundation.
How do you know that he was sharing drugs with your dad?
I was there. I watched it.
But he was disappeared. You weren't with him.
My dad at the
So
time...
wait, you didn't say that he disappeared, and you didn't say like, well, where's Johnny? I'm in the middle of this engagement party with all our friends and family. Where's Johnny? Where's Johnny? He was gone, she said, almost the entire time. And yet she didn't say, I went to go search for him, and I found him in this room. She said he was in this little closet room. So I guess we have to imply that she went searching for him. Was she by herself? I assume she was. And then she found Johnny doing drugs with her father. So, right or wrong, true or not true, he's bonding with her father. Let's not get mad at Dad. Let's get not mad at my dad. Let's get mad at Johnny. It's a little hypocritical, but if it's true, it's still understandable to be angry, I guess. Here
was was addicted to the same thing Johnny was. And so my dad had...
So you were familiar with substance abuse, if it's true, of your father having substance abuse. You didn't see him walk away at all? Whatever. I don't know.
Either my dad ran out or Johnny ran out. I can't recall which.
Oh, but you remember all kinds of other stuff.
But there was they needed more, of course, and had to leave the party.
What do you mean, of course?
My dad actually left with Johnny's security to go get more drugs from...
Objection
West
calls
Hollywood.
for speculation.
Yeah.
How do you know that?
They told me.
Hearsay.
Hearsay.
Objection. Okay. And they left to go whatever, and then they came back with drugs, and everything was okay.
How do you know?
In terms of the withdrawal symptom of the, I don't know what you call it at that point, but he still stayed upstairs. And
Are you referring to Mr. Depp?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Please
So
continue.
And where's your
shortly
father
after
at the
that,
time?
Tried to get Johnny to come downstairs, and he just snapped at me, just verbally told me to shut the fuck up. And I remember talking to my mom about the irony of it.
Okay.
We were in an engagement party, but that was pretty much.
What's ironic? What's the irony of it? I don't understand what the irony of it. What are we implying about irony? that it's an engagement party and he's all alone? Is that the irony of it? I guess we have to use our common sense to imply what she means by irony.
Much it for the engagement party, and I went downstairs and entertained guests and smiled and took pictures and put on a face and, went about my
Put on
evening.
face with the Amica makeup. Amica, which is actually Amica.
2014, the Met Gala.
Armica.
Could you please tell the jury what a Met Gala is and what's involved in that?
Objection compound.
Overruled. Met Gala is a big event, annual event, celebrity event in New York. It's
What's
a
funny is
fashion
they just
event,
had
but
another one
It's just a major
the
red
same day that
carpet
this
event.
testimony was, or a day before, or something like that.
And so you have to be invited, and it's kind of a thing, and we were invited that year.
We?
And I had already gone for the previous year or two, and this year we were going to go together. And at some point in the evening, we're sitting across the table, and Johnny starts asking me about this woman. He thought I was looking at this woman in a sexual way, and I kind of turned it around on him and said that exact same
Objection hearsay.
All right. It's context, Your Honor. This is
I'll
context.
sustain the objection.
Okay. Just say what Mr. Depp said then. I guess you can't tell us what you said to him.
Okay.
That was snarky. You hear that snark from the defense attorney against the judge herself? Do you think you're scoring points with the judge? Do you think as a trial attorney you're going to earn more sustains for you or objections for you when you're making snarky remarks to the judge? That is outrageous. Her attorneys are wow.
He was accusing me of flirting, and that's how the argument started. I don't recall what other accusations I was fielding at that moment.
But you remember all kinds of
typically, in my
others.
experience with him, it wasn't just one. So you'd make a point, and then he would go on to a different accusation.
From what other testimonies from his witnesses is that she controls conversations. She's the one that rambles on and on and on and on and on and on. Not Johnny, according to his witnesses. So, I don't know about that.
But I remember that what started it is this accusation that I had been flirting at this event. We get back to the hotel room, and Johnny shoves me.
And from being in a lesbian marriage before him, do you think, and he's engaged only, do you think that maybe, and it's insecure on his part, that's his insecurities, but maybe he saw something? I mean, in my opinion, you're a social climber. You're a young person. Maybe you're overly flirtatious with everyone, and it's hard for him to discern when and when not you're being a overly flirtatious person. Not that in that moment he doesn't have insecurity there. And if what she's saying is true, it is insecurity on his part, and maybe, not good timing, maybe not correct words, things like that, but
And kind of grabs me by the collarbone area, like not really my neck, but top of my neck.
in the
Top of
public,
my-
in the
above
public,
my collarbone, below my neck.
in public, Met Gala, public. He's grabbing your collarbone
I
in
think
public.
at that point, when we were still in the living room, I shoved him back.
Oh, so they're
But
back home.
I don't
My bad.
really recall too many specifics. I remember he
So you're home alone. From the Met Gala, no discussion of the car ride home, no discussion of elevator rides. All of a sudden, they're chilling in the apartment, and he grabs your collarbone. Okay.
threw a bottle at me. It missed me, but it broke the chandelier. And at some point, I remember maybe this was the shove that I was talking about, but at some point, Johnny and I are in a struggle in the living room, and he kind of like shoves me down on the sofa, and I get up and I'm trying to get him off of me, and it's just stronger than me. I don't know how else to describe it. And at some point he just whacks me in the face, and I had not at the
Define wax me in the face. Define that.
I think that was the first time I was like, is this a broken nose? At the time I was unsure what that feeling was, but I suspected I had a broken nose. And other than that, I was relatively unscathed.
You're a
But I remember
tough Texas
my
woman.
nose being swollen, discolored, red, and I took a picture of my face
Naturally.
at some point and made a joke about it to my friend about how bad I looked compared to how the red
Objection,
carpet.
hearsay.
Why, as a abuse victim, would you joke about anything regarding your abuse or abuser?
It was not for to prove the truth of the matter, sir.
I'll sustain the objection.
Okay.
Another
Okay.
sustained.
Just don't say what you what.
Maybe if you didn't piss off the judge a few minutes ago, she wouldn't have sustained the objection on behalf of Johnny's attorneys. Maybe. Just
You told a friend, okay?
guessing.
Okay. Let's take you to the Adderall Diaries. When did you start filming the Adderall Diaries?
Believe May. I filmed another movie in New York, March, April, May. I went straight from that movie to another movie, independent film.
14 or
with
15?
James Franco. The one
Ah.
I previously shot was with Christopher Walken. That's right. Okay, so I went from one to the other.
Christopher Walken?
And
I
saw
don't
Johnny
know.
in these, in between, like if I got a long weekend or
Never
I'd
saw that
fly
movie.
home to be with him and then
Christopher
fly back. It
Walken's
was kind of like that.
icon.
Fly back from where? Where were you filming those?
In New York.
Okay. And where was Mr. Depp at that time?
Johnny was in LA at the time and then eventually went on location for his movie Black Mass in Boston.
So you were in New York and Mr. Depp was in Boston at some point? in May?
Eventually by May 2014. That's
Okay.
it.
So we've jumped now from November of 2013, Thanksgiving in London. So now we're in May of 2014. So yeah, there's your reference there. Okay. So that's December, January, February, March, April, May. 6 months. 6 months.
All right. And what, if any, discussions or arguments did you have with Mr. Depp relating to James Franco?
Still not
in that
married.
time frame of May 2014.
She pauses because she knows she got caught recently on a video of her canoodling up the elevator while still married to Johnny with James Franco in the elevator. Look it up on Google. It's there on YouTube. So she's going to try to. This is story now. Tell me she wasn't attracted to her coworker, James Franco. Tell me she wasn't flirting with him and maybe doing anything else. I don't know. Was it there? But she was doing something on that elevator. And you don't think Johnny has his suspicions? Which were justified if you saw the video of him in the elevator.
It's a nightmare.
Saw her in the elevator. It was a nightmare.
I wanted to do this independent film. I liked the story. I liked the character.
Okay.
I told him I'm not going to wear makeup in the thing. but-
Objection, hearsay.
Apparently,
Ms. Beard, if you could approach, please.
Johnny had a sense, even if it was unfounded sense, that she was going to or has been or will somehow be flirtatious to or even more than that, with James Franco and object to it. Kind of funny how that premonition came true. Kind of funny. Maybe he understands the proclivity, the easiness, he's naturally, James is younger than Johnny, is more closer to Amber's age. Handsome man, James Franco, well-liked, lots of movies. Certainly more movies than she probably was in at that time. And knows that it's very easy to fall in love.
So
on set.
Tell the jury what Mr. Depp said.
He was mad at me for taking the job with James Franco.
Uh-huh.
He hated James Franco.
Maybe James had a reputation in
already
Hollywood.
accusing
I don't know.
me
Maybe.
Of kind of secretly having a thing with him in my past since we had done Pineapple Express together.
And maybe there was something there.
Okay.
So I'm
Turned
going
out
to
real.
take you to the Boston plane
Even
incident.
if
We've
at
heard
that
about
moment it wasn't real, it became real later.
earlier. May 24. Can you please describe for the jury what took place on May 24 relating to the plane incident?
Well, I had spoken to Johnny, you know, he's in Boston, I'm in New York, and I spoke to him. He had already been upset with me and accused me in like many arguments about not telling him about scenes that I had. If I had a kissing scene, any sort of romantic scene, and I wasn't explicit about what I was going to do, then I was accused of having withheld information and hiding it from him. So I didn't want the fight, of course. I didn't want the argument, but I had to kind of eggshell tiptoe around how to tell him when...
Not justifying Johnny's insecurities if he is or was insecure, but in entertainment marriages, wouldn't you think you should discuss that with your partner? What kind of movies I'm going to be sexually so-called portrayed in intimate scenes with other people? Don't you think you'd want to even offer that? I don't know.
And I had any sort of scene like that. And I did tell him in this occasion.
Objection, hearsay.
We need to stay with what Mr. Depp said, okay?
Okay. So he was upset with me, but he didn't sound coherent so much on the phone. He was yelling at me about how could you tell me this? How could you tell me this when I'm filming, when I have this scene that I'm doing? How could you tell me this when I'm working? Obviously, I couldn't tell him any other time because we were both filming, and I told him as soon as it was relevant. And
hey, baby, are you
kept
filming right now? Hey, baby, what are you doing? Are you in the middle of filming? Is it a film day? Is it a day that you're on film and not, other scenes with other actors on a particular... Baby, are you filming today? Are you on set? Are you, waiting to be called for your scene or whatever? Baby, what's going on? If you knew his sensitivity, if it's real, on his... If you understood his so-called insecurities, if it's real, if what you're saying is real, then maybe you should have felt out the situation before you blurted it out. Maybe.
saying, how could you tell me this? How could you just tell me this?
Because it would ruin my day too.
It was like I had told him I was.
He's getting mentally prepared to do whatever scene. Be a pirate. Be a, swashbuckling. Whatever he's getting, he knows he's rehearsing his lines. He's trying to prepare for his scenes. And then, hey, baby, I'm going to be getting it on scene, with whoever, going to be doing this, that, and the other. Distract me a little too, I'd say.
Or something, was that angry at me. But he kind of started to sound less connected to reality as these like arguments would happen on the phone. This is in one day. Eventually, he hangs up on me in the conversation, screaming at me. I talked to his assistants. I won't say what they said, but I had conversations and felt encouraged that I could continue on with the plan, which was for me to get on the plane, go to Boston, pick him up, and we would go back to LA for his daughter's birthday. I was nervous because the conversation I had had with him, and he was so upset with me on that conversation, but I figured I assumed he had passed out.
Okay. Let's hey Siri. When is Lily Rose's birthday? Johnny Depp's daughter.
Here's what I found from Wikipedia.org. Lily Rose Melody Depp was born in Neuilly-sur-Seine, France, west of Paris, on May 27, 1999. She is the daughter of the American actor, producer, and musician Johnny Depp.
Okay.
French singer.
Okay, so May. So this is still in that same month if her testimony is, it seems like the same month after the May Met Gala, which is in early May, I think, if it was the same date as, the current ones. So now we're talking late May, and
that he would have been kind of sobered up the next day, assuming that the work would mean that he felt pressured to kind of pull it together. And I get on the plane. He sent the plane, so I assumed he's not that mad at me. He's over it. We're moving on. He's sobered up. There had been a lot of talk about a sober plan, like a full detox, a full recovery, a doctor, a whole plan. There were talks of that following what had happened in London. So
what I'm curious as to what they're
feeling
eating
like,
all the
okay,
time.
well,
I think they're mints.
maybe we're here, and I get on the plane. It touches down, and the SUV pulls up, and it sits on the tarmac for a very long time. He knows I'm on the plane waiting for him, so I kind of started to anticipate that things weren't as I hoped, meaning that he was sobering.
Okay, not to be hyper analytic, but very long time in Amber Heard's mind, in her hyper dramatic, emotionally sensitive life. What's a long time? I mean, what's a long time? 10 minutes? 15 minutes? He's sitting in the back there for an hour? I mean, what's a long time?
I had slept it off. And I'm sitting on the plane for a very long time waiting for him, and he finally opens the door, and I see him get out of the SUV, and I can guess by how he's moving, how he's walking. I didn't realize at the time I had already become really sensitive to these little changes.
Yeah.
Because my life changed depending on what he was on. And he gets on the plane, and I just knew in every cell of my body something was wrong.
Now, she hasn't gotten into her crying phase yet.
And he comes straight up to me, doesn't say anything to me, but is looking at me.
Her later
He's got his glasses on, and he takes them off in this kind of aggressive manner and sits down across from me, not in the usual spot. We kind of have our places on his plane, where you get used to sitting. And I remember I got up and moved to accommodate him getting by so he could sit in the normal seat as per usual. Mm-hmm. He didn't. He sat across from me. At some point, and I don't really remember the exact sequence of it, we take off, and at some point he's asking me what's wrong with me. What do I have? Do I have something to tell him? Do I have something to tell him? You want to talk to me about your day yesterday? And then it gets, I already know that he's drunk. I already know he's using.
How do you know? Wait, how do you know? He was waiting. You were waiting for him on the tarmac. He was in his car with his driver. You waited a long time, and already you know he's drunk? Maybe you do. I don't know. How do you know?
Of weed and alcohol. I mean, his breath smelled so bad.
So that's how you know. Weed and alcohol. Maybe, probably alcohol. You could smell alcohol on a breath. He tends to prefer wine, red wine from both testimonies, Beck's from both testimonies. I don't know what kind of liquor, but I assume she would know if his breath smelled like weed, but it could have been cigarettes. Nasty cigarettes. Cigarettes and liquor don't smell good at all on a breath. I'll give you that. You know?
I could anticipate that there was a no-win situation here. There was no me talking myself out of this or talking him down or any...
That is your anticipation of it. It doesn't mean it's reality. It's your analysis, your hyper-dramatic emotional status, your prejudging a situation, a conversation that's to have. Whenever you or anyone goes into any conversation with a predisposition for negativity, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
A lot of my arguments and my involvement in them are me trying to diffuse by explaining or
Objection, non-responsive.
What is she getting to? What question is she even answering? Is she just talking about the plane trip?
He is asking me questions, and I know to not engage. I was polite. I made sure to answer minimal amount.
You swear
of,
at him, yell at him.
The minimal amount that I could.
Of course, your natural proclivity is
slowly.
politeness.
I was trying to be polite, but not engage.
No, wait. What? No. Look. Even girlfriends you date for a while can get angry. It's a relationship. Everyone gets angry. You're waiting on the tarmac for a long time, and you're not angry. Amber Heard isn't angry, so your initial reaction is you're already calm and patient. You're sitting on the tarmac. If her testimony is true, you're sitting on the tarmac. Where's Johnny? What? I mean, come on. Where's Johnny? Are we gonna go? I mean, we're running late or whatever. Come on. And you're just this ancient. You're just this patient angel. You're just patient, right? No, you're not an average woman who would rightfully so be angry, perturbed, bothered by sitting on a tarmac when you know your man's sitting in a car out there.
There was no.
You're an angel.
He kept going, kept asking.
You're an angel.
Eventually went from, do you have something to tell me, to, you want to tell me how much you liked it. Tell me, did he slip a tongue? It got worse and worse. Just
you see him go.
It went from asking me about how my kissing scene went or how the sex scene went to asking me what James Franco had done in the scene to being really explicit about.
I bet there's
my body. You know, he was talking about he was saying really disgusting things about my body, about how I liked it, how I responded, and then he started just straight up taunting me. I know you liked it. He called me a go-getter. He called me a slut in front, and also this is happening with security and his assistants on the plane. And I remember I felt I struggle to be able to tell you how embarrassed I was, because he was speaking to me in front of people in this way, asking me if I liked it and if I was wet, and you know, why I wasn't looking at him, and that was proof I wasn't looking at him that was proof that I was asking for. Did I ask James to do this and this?
And if testimony of his witnesses are truthfulness, his security guards, whatever, they say that he would never act like this in front of others. If he would act like this, he would act privately in their house or whatever. But there are people on that plane. Is she truthful?
This to me, and how about if he does those things to me? Insert sexually explicit descriptions of what he accused me of wanting or deserving.
Okay, here's the crying.
And I, at some point in this, get up and move to the front of the plane. And I remember getting up so slowly. I didn't want to aggravate him.
What
I
an
didn't
angel.
want to give him any excuse to pounce on. I didn't want to upset him. I didn't want him to flip a switch and get worse. I just remember very slow movements. And I slowly get up and move to the front of the plane. And he starts throwing things at me. Ice cubes, utensils.
See, he raised his
He's calling
eyebrows
me
there. Really?
A go-getter.
I did?
And then an embarrassment.
I threw
Talking about what an
utensils at you?
embarrassment I am.
Utensils meaning what? Forks, knives? Are they plastic? Are they metal? Where are the marks? Was he eating from them? Were there food stains on you? He was just whipping forks and knives at you. I would ask, if her testimony is true, how about, backing it up, was food service being offered right then and there? Was he eating? I assume not, since she says he was drunk and angry. Whatever. Where do utensils come from? I mean, are they just laying around? What's the... Not that that makes much of a difference in the whole case, but does every seat have a table? Is it set up to eat? I mean, okay. I don't... Let's assume it's a nice plane with utensils laying around.
I don't know how many times I moved seats. I wish I did. I don't.
How big of a plane is it?
I remember moving more than once, and Johnny came to me each time, not the other way around. He sits down in front of me at one point, and because I'm not answering him, I was looking out of the window, and he slaps my face. And his friend is in our proximity. And it didn't hurt my face. It just felt embarrassed. That he would do that to me in front of people. It was the first time that anything like that had happened in front of somebody. I got up to move again, and he's just taunting me, having a laugh, screaming, and then just straight up mean, calling me names. And it was oscillating between those things. And I get up slowly again, and I just resolve to just sit the rest of the time up at the front of the plane.
In fact, isn't it true that you flew them all home?
He kind of kicks the swivel chair into my hip, or kind of just hits me. And I look at him, and he asks me, what? What are you going to do about it? I just stared at him. I just stared at him and wanted him to see me. I wanted to get through to him. Didn't feel there was it felt like there was a blackness in his eyes. I wanted to look at him. I wanted him to
I felt like there was
see
a
me.
blackness in his eyes. I felt like there was a blackness in his eyes. These are statements that elicit emotional response in jurors. Is it true? I don't know. How can you prove that? I felt that there was a blackness in his eyes. Are you implying that he turned evil all of a sudden? Is that what you're implying?
Even feel like him.
I guess that's what you're implying.
as I'm walking away, slowly, trying not to be, I was being very deliberate about my movements.
I'm an angel.
Wasn't saying anything. I wasn't engaging.
But you...
I am walking away from him slowly, and he tells me to hurry the fuck up. Hurry up. And I just look at him one more time, wanting to penetrate the monster to see the man that I love.
That I loved. Here we go. You're going to see that.
The man I loved.
The man I loved. I loved so much. I loved him.
Hurry up again.
I loved him. I loved him so much, but yet I was so apprehensive about getting engaged to him.
And I pull my gaze away from him. I walk away from him. My back is turned to him, and I feel this boot in my back. He just kicked
Johnny's
me
like, no.
in the back. I fell to the floor. I caught myself on the floor, and I just felt like I was looking at the floor of the plane for felt like a long time.
Now he's doing this because, you know, whatever, for whatever reason. If I were to look at him, I would think this means, oh my God, I can't believe she's saying this. Now, she's either telling the truth, or the security guard who was on the plane testified that nothing happened in there. Are they covering for him? Or is he telling the truth? Is he telling the truth? Are his witnesses telling the truth? Or is she now on the plane? He's now thrown things at her, utensils, hit her with the swivel chair, and now he just gets up and picks up a big old boot in the middle of her back and kicks her down. If that's true, yeah, that's not good. But sounds outrageous. It just sounds outrageous.
And I thought to myself, I don't know what to do. I can't believe he just kicked me. No one said anything. No one did anything. It was like you could hear a pin drop on that plane. You could feel the tension.
If that's true, I would believe so. I would believe so. If it's true, what you said, I would believe so.
So embarrassed. I felt so embarrassed that he could kick me to the ground in front of people. And more embarrassing, I didn't know what to do about it. I got up and I walked to the front of the plane. I sat down and I just looked out of the window. And Jerry Judge's security and my friend.
You see the attorney right there? Bro, she mentioned Jerry Judge, and then his attorney went, wow. So there's something there.
Both kind of under their breath asked me, are you okay?
Objection, hearsay.
I spent the rest of the time looking out of the window.
Sustain the objection.
And
Did there come a time that you
Hold on.
tape recorded Mr. Depp on this plane?
Sorry, hold on. Hold on. All right, that's a perfect time to stop right there. There's about 33 minutes or so that we did. And I hope you liked the testimony. I'm sure everyone's seen it live, no matter what, but just some of my reactions to it. I hope you enjoy the videos. If you can, please hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe if you like it. You know, again, this is a biased review. I'm Team Johnny, so, you know, what have you. Again, this was video 2. We're going to be working on video 3. No, this is video 3. I'm sorry. This is video 3. Why I'm confused is I just uploaded 2, so this is 3. Look out for part 4. And, guys, I thank you very much, and take care.